Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Riffin with Griffin. And I want to introduce to the program a very special guest, Mr. Billy Gardell. This is my favorite theme song, Billy. This is...
Well, you have a ride. You have theme music. You have a ride.
We got to feel it. This is Eli, Winderman, and Billy Robert Kimmel. They made this one. This is my first time using one twice.
Yeah, I like this one. Is this the one that was on with the Lees?
No, this isn't the one. That's a different one.
Okay, but I like the Riffin with Griffin.
Don't you like this one,
yes,
though?
Yes, I do. You got a little P-funk.
Yeah.
A little P-funk, yeah. We should all be swaying in a foggy room.
Right? Last time, because we're riffing with Griffin. Whoa.
Can't go wrong if you got a woo-woo in there. You're good.
You're old school. You know about the woo-woo.
I know about the woo-woo. I do indeed.
Oh, man, that was so good. It's the first time I've used one twice.
I think that's the one.
People always say that. That's the one. But then these people, they send in, and then I hear another one, and I'm like blown away by that one. But, hey, guys, if you really want to send in a theme song, you got to beat this one. Eli and Robert came with the Thunder Funk. But anyways, my good friend Billy Gardell is here.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, because I don't think people, what do people know about you? You know what I mean? Like, where'd you start?
I just lay low, man. Got my hand in the pocket. I'm standing in the back.
Just lay low.
Just lay low. Stay out of trouble.
I remember one time, I remember when I was doing that show with Ahmed out in
where were you?
In Newport Beach.
I do remember that.
And then you came out and did a show, and it was Craig. It wasn't Craig. Who was there with you? That he was headlining the show. I forgot who it was. But anyways, you went on before him and just like the whole obliterated the place.
Back in the old days.
Yeah, he kept saying over and over again on stage, I can't believe why am I going up after this guy?
Well, I started in
where'd you start?
Orlando, Florida.
You started in Orlando.
Yeah, we had a pretty amazing open mic crew. Our open mic night was, let's see, there was a couple guys ahead of us. Like Tom Rhodes was already a feature act. This is 1987.
Wow, old school.
So Dan Whitney, who became Larry the Cable Guy, was a feature, but those guys were around to kind of help us a little bit. And but our open mic crew was me, Daryl Hammond. Let's see, a guy named Fillmore, who was a very talented cat who ended up doing well at Nickelodeon and stuff like that. And let's see, Carrot Top.
Oh, Jesus.
And, it's just nobody thought anybody was going to make any money. And, of course, I was last to the party, but I made it. But it was a great group of guys, man. We just had this crew that was kind of eclectic and really helped each other. And we were that group that, like, we'd do our open mic night, and then we'd be at Denny's with, napkins, like, this don't work for my act. Anybody got a tag for this?
They just don't do that.
No.
It just doesn't happen anymore.
No, it does not.
It really doesn't happen anymore.
No.
So when did you decide that Orlando was you were a big fish in a little pond?
Well, I don't know that I ever was. I think Florida comics, like we had this thing on us, and I know Rhodes felt this and Daryl felt this, and like you had to prove yourself when you went somewhere else if you were a Florida comic, because they were like. We've seen the boat acts that come out of Florida. Where's your trombone? Do you have your trombone with you?
Yeah.
So
are you juggling?
So we had a little bit of a chip on our shoulder coming out on the road to do really good shows and stuff. And we had some great comics down there. I mean, cats like Danny Bevins are down there, which I just think is wonderful. And and the Regans came out of there. Brian and Dennis Regan came out of there. And so Florida had this cool little undercurrent of comedy. And then I was down. I started in '87. By '91, I went to New York City. And I was living in this dude's garage out on Long Island for a little while. First place I went up there was in Huntington at a place called the East Side Comedy Club, which is actually where Eddie Murphy started and Rob Bartlett. And
man, you're right in the thick of the history of comedy,
I'm just old. But I started out at the East Side. That was the first place I did up north. And then eventually I moved into the city. The second year I was up in the New York area, I moved into the city and just got my ass handed to me. just
It was different.
Oh well, I thought I was. You think you're funny in Florida, and then you get to Manhattan.
No. You were funny in Florida.
They inform you you're not. And I just got my ass handed to me in New York City, and it was probably one of the best things that could have happened to me, because when I left New York, I had this place at 6th and Houston, which was right above Alphabet City. And now if you go there, because I love to go visit New York. I love New York City. I'll go get lost there. I like jazz and I like steaks. I'm very lame. Worked hard to get that way. Love it.
By the way, have you been to that jazz barbecue place?
Yes.
What's it called?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I went there with Lou Mastillo, the guy who played Vince on Mike and Molly. He's another jazz guy. And we had a blast.
I was just there.
Killer.
And I went,
Killer spot.
God,
right?
I wish I could remember the name of the place.
There's a jazz place every 4 feet. It's the last city.
Right, but it's just specifically ribs and jazz. You go downstairs.
That's it, man. That's it.
When we went to go to New York together, we have to hit that place.
I came see you in New York.
That's right. We should have gone.
I think if they see us coming, they get very excited. They get very excited. Like,
I know.
We're going to make profit tonight.
Yeah, I saw a great
I lived above 6th and Houston at this. I was on the 3rd floor of this building, which was a walk up, and for a fat guy, you literally will go, I might just sleep on the sidewalk. And then you hear a gunshot and you go, I'll take the steps. But Alphabet City was crazy back then. So it's funny to walk through that neighborhood now, because I go visit there now, and it's like those apartments are now $3,800 a month.
Yeah, for a single.
Yeah, and I had this
closet
I don't
space.
even think mine was legal. Like, I had this one of them apartments that some dude had just, it's an apartment. There's a hot plate.
It was like the janitor's
and
closet.
A shower, for like $1,200 a month, and I barely made it, man. I barely made it. But New York taught me I had to really reevaluate and decide what I was going to do after I left New York. I left New York because I just couldn't make it there. I just couldn't make enough money to survive.
You couldn't afford to survive there.
I couldn't afford to survive there,
I
man.
know what you're saying.
And so I went back down to Florida and kind of reevaluated, and by that I mean got high for about 3 years. And then decided, all right, I'm going to start taking this seriously. And I went to Atlanta, and I met my manager, Chris DePetto, who you know.
Yes, that's why.
And he loves you to death.
Yes.
And had the punchline, and I went up there, and he signed me, and then we just started working on, what I wanted to say, what I wanted to be, and what direction I wanted to go. And then I think from there, it probably took about another 6 years, so total of 10 on the road. And then I finally came out to L.A. in, I want to say 96, end of 96, beginning of 97. And then another short 12 years. And then
you did a short stint in L.A. for 12 years.
and then was lucky enough to hit it on Mike and Molly.
Yeah. Wow. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's more stuff before Mike and Molly.
Well, I was
like, when did you
I was the king of pilots for a long time.
Yeah, you were the original pilot king.
I was like,
you did not just pilots. You did you were the Mr. We gonna do a season of this.
Well, yeah, no. You know what my number was? This is so funny because my number was 13.
Yeah,
that's as far as I'd ever gotten.
Yeah,
we did 13 on a show called Lucky, which I loved.
Lucky.
John
Lucky
Corbett, Craig
great.
Robinson, and me and Craig were we were just new to the game, but we had this great chemistry, and we had this show was great. It was written by Robin Mark Cullen. It was about 2 years before the World Series of Poker craze. Had we been on that train, it'd have been over. And it was a great show on top.
It was a great show.
So that got.
But that was on what network?
That was on FX.
It was on FX
right after The Shield.
Right,
right after The Shield. So we were like that close.
Wait, wasn't it during The Shield? Like The Shield had come out.
Shield was out for a year, and we're the next project.
This is them trying to get into the drama game.
Right, and the president of that company then took a job at Fox.
Oh, that was it.
And so when the new guy comes, they get rid of all the old blood.
Yeah,
and what really
get this old shit out of here.
Yeah. And what really sucked was that show got nominated for a Best New Comedy Series Emmy, and they canceled us a week later. So there's no rhyme or reason.
Oh, they don't even do that anymore.
Yeah.
If they know something, they don't even send that stuff in. They don't make that mistake anymore.
Yeah. So I did a lot of guest stars. Like, I'll tell you who was really great to me, who my college education was Greg Garcia, who created Yes Dear, My Name is Earl, and
Greg's great.
Raising Hope.
I did a pilot for Greg.
I love the guy. And he put me on Yes Dear as a reoccurring character, and that was like a real education that I didn't know then was getting me ready for Mike and Molly. You know? And then when you hit Chuck Lorre, that's like playing for the Yankees, man.
Yeah.
I love it. People always go like, do you ever give any suggestions to Chuck?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's like playing for the Yankees, man.
Yeah, you're a pro.
third base.
Yeah.
Go play third base. We don't need any help on the pitcher's mound. Go play third base.
You were like, I'm going to stay in my lane.
That's it, man. That's exactly how I looked at it.
How was that working with Melissa McCarthy?
She was awesome, dude.
Yeah.
She was awesome to this day. The whole cast, we all still stay in touch.
That's good.
I had dinner with her about 6 months ago in New York City. And I talk to Reno all the time, who's now on a show called The Good Girls on NBC.
Oh, yes.
And me and him, Reno and me are a great story because, we had 10 years before Mike and Molly, we were on a show called The Heist. Now, that was a show that was on opposite. They put us on opposite American Idol at its.
Oh, well, that's why no one.
Bro, you could hear the death drums beating from episode 1. But it was a good show. And
during the first table read, you guys were like, we're going to be Idol? We're going to be against Idol? This is not going to work.
Did you say Wednesday at 9? He said 9. So they put us on, and we were still getting 6 million people a week, which nowadays.
Oh, you'd be a hit. That'd be a network smash.
But back then, 10 was the watermark. Yeah. So, but me and Reno stayed friends, and we struck up a great friendship. We only did 6 episodes, but we became good friends. And then our kids were born about the same time. I love him like a brother. We've been so tight. So 10 years later, I'm getting packed to go tell my dumb little jokes in Cincinnati or somewhere. And he calls me, and he goes, dude, this show's us. We are Mike and Carl. I'm going in on this thing called Mike and Molly. You got to get your agent. You got to get in on it. I'm like, yeah. I got to go tell these dick jokes.
You're like, I'm packing.
I'll call about it on Monday, dude. I got shit to do. I got to get my shave kit filled.
Yeah.
So I come back and ask about it, and I get the audition. I get an appointment set for that, thanks to my agent, Paul Santana. And who, by the way, I went back to my original agent. And
you had left him?
Yeah, I left him at the 3rd year of Mike and Molly, and it was really the only blemish I feel I've had in my career, because I drank the Kool-Aid. You're big now. The big agency came to get me, bro.
You're on a CBS sitcom with one of the biggest stars in the world.
I might as well.
You got to get a big agent.
Yeah, and once I did, I might as well have been in Iowa somewhere, because it just wasn't working. And then I went to UTA, who was very, very good to me. And then once this deal with Chuck came through for UTA, I left that on the table with them, and I said, look, I appreciate everything you guys have done, but I'm going to go back to my original agent because I just think it's right. So I'm back with him now, which I'm really, really happy to be back over there at APA with him.
Good for you,
because we wrote it, dude. That dude.
You're just an old school loyal guy.
I am, man. And that was the blemish on me, because I drank all the Kool-Aid.
And he needed some of that money too. Like, he was like,
that's what I'm saying. He got the original, but he should have got the renegotiation.
Yes.
So I'm hoping on this next show, I leave the original over there, and he'll get the renegotiation. We've already landed a little something over at APA since I've been home.
Good for you.
This guy. My agent, Paul, man, when in the early days, he would get me in on something. If there was that much chance that I could be in the room, he got me in there. Even on the things that were wrong, he got me in there.
So even you come in and
get me in front.
And the people are like, well, we didn't really want to see you, but hi.
The funniest one I ever did was for Desperate Housewives, and I ended up booking the job. It was an FBI guy who has to bug a house, right? And everybody, it's this ripped up muscular dude, and then I walk in like John Candy, like, hi, just a sign up? Okay, I bet your name's Chad. All right. But I got the part. But he would do things like that, and I just always felt really terrible. It was a business move that I kind of had to make but didn't want to, and I owned it. And I went back to him about a year later. I said, look, man, I'm really sorry that I did that. And I said, and someday I'm going to come back. And he said, the door's open, and this year we were able to do that. So I'm back at home there, and I'm happy about that. But I want to get back to Reno. So Reno calls me about that thing.
Yeah, he calls you about Mike and Molly.
He's like, dude. I'm like, yeah. Because by then I'm just hopeless. I don't even think nothing's going to happen, right? So finally I call, and I get in, and we end up getting on the show together, which is just that's a ridiculous odds to know someone that well and then have them playing
your
best friend.
Yeah.
That's why we could finish each other's sentences on that. We weren't really acting, you know what I mean? But the greatest was, and we always tell this story, and he does too, man, the week we did the pilot, I can't remember who was who. It was either his car was getting repossessed and my transmission was going, or my car was getting repossessed and his transmission was going. I can't remember which. And we literally rolled into the lot carpooling together that whole first 7 or 8 episodes, just like Fred and Barney, just barely getting into it. Like, could not believe that the gate was going to go up. And,
right.
Just pulling in a clunky car.
What did you think when the first check came in? Were you just kind of like...
I was blown away, man. I could not... I was like, is this going to continue?
Right.
And when
you were putting them under your mattress.
Bro, you know what I did the whole time for Mike and Molly? I took a page out of Leno's book, man. I really knew that, look, all right, this window's going to open. And it stays open a different amount for everybody. Like, it opens and closes. Sometimes it blows open and you get Melissa's career, which is phenomenal. That's rare air. And then there's the dudes who I like to, I'm like a rounder. I grind. Just keep that window open. I'll do what I got to do.
It's like football, you get like 4 or 5 this season running back. Yeah.
Stay alive. Keep icing your knees.
Yes.
Go to bed early.
Yeah.
So what I did was, man, I gave my wife the paycheck because she's really good with money. And I just took $500 cash a week. And then when the show was over, because of the success of the show, I was able to do stand-up at casinos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I live on the stand-up money, and all that other money's put away for when we're old and for my kids' college.
Good
and
for you.
Some investment. That's all her. She did all that. Make no mistake. Like if it was me, I would have had a hot air balloon and a dolphin and a ski runner over in Burbank in a 1-bedroom. Like I used to be. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So she's responsible for all that happened. But me and Reno, man, we were just like Fred and Barney going into work, which was great. And we still laugh about it now.
But it turned out to be like a huge success, right?
Great show, and it reached across the country. It reached across different age groups, which I loved. Like when I'd go to my show, and it was nice because you'd see people that were 60 and people that were 20. And then what's happening now is kind of like I'll have young people bring their parents to my show, which is kind of cool because we were a show they all watched as a family, and I thought that was that's when you've hit some rare air.
What'd you feel about at the time that it was like you were gonna be a fat guy on TV, and like the show was that? Like,
I think they had.
What was that dynamic in terms of like even with Melissa at the time, like with both of you?
Yeah, the idea was always two people that thought they were never going to fall in love, finding love. That was always the baseline. But we had to, no pun intended, address the elephant in the room. And so they had to pepper a little bit of that the first season just to get people, because usually, man, we're out here, we're walking around, most leading men are 85 pounds and wear medium T-shirts.
Yeah, and they're 5'4".
I'm an action hero.
Yeah.
Sure you are.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you have to fight that a little bit. So just, I think to get them used to us, we had to do a little bit of that joking as we went first, but the more the show went on, the more it became about.
It didn't matter anymore.
It was about love. It was always about love, and then Chuck would always say that me and Reno were the second marriage of that show, because you got your best friend that's just giving you advice about things he knows nothing about, and we just did that, I thought, wonderfully. And we had a rounded out cast. It was great. Cleo King played his grandmother, who's an amazing actress, and Rondi Reed, who out of Steppenwolf, and Swoozie Kurtz, who's off of Broadway. So we had these, and Lou, who played Vince, and Katie Mixon. Like we had all these actors.
It was a phenomenal cast.
These were like actors. Like, and then I came out of a basement of a comedy club.
Where's
they helped me.
The Florida guy. Is the Florida guy here? Florida guy on set?
They helped me a lot, man.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, but like in terms of like, so did you always want to be an actor though, or is it? Oh, you did.
No, yeah, always. And it's funny because I've done everything backwards. I did my show, and then I got a special. I went on the Tonight Show, and I did panel before I did stand. Like my stand up, I've always been like one molecule off of being really famous at stand up. And it's funny, I'm not complaining. I'm so grateful for what has happened beyond. But it's funny because that just like I still have people come up and go, "You do stand up?"
Yes.
So and I've been doing it 30 years. So, but that's kind of funny to hear that. You know,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Like when I was on Workaholics, people think like, "Oh, that's your big break. That's your thing." It was my big TV thing, but like I was doing stand up,
grinding.
Yeah, we're grinding out all the time. So people look at you, they don't even know. Once you get on TV, they don't realize
what's behind that.
How you even got there was the stand up. So they look at you and go, "Oh God, you're a stand up."
Yep.
So it's such a weird thing. Like, what do you think of the business now? The state of the business in comparison to where you were when you first started?
Man, I admire the innovation of the younger generation right now, because I think they're fighting a lot more to just get heard than we are, because it's such a vast universe now. Like there's so many avenues of, I don't know how you get noticed anymore. And then, the clubs have
You got to start a podcast.
Well, this is the good. I actually think the podcasts have brought stand-ups back to the forefront. I think because a good comedian this is a great home for them. I mean, this is a great
talking and having,
that's what we do, and that'll translate out into to the crowds. But like nowadays, to get noticed, it's a bigger deal. Like we had showcase nights at the Improv where sometimes you'd get a little industry to come look at you, and then I feel for comics trying to start on the road now, because like when I started,
Yeah, you built your audience on the road.
But even before that, like just to get into the club, like you had to have another headliner say, I'm going to call Comedy Off Broadway for you. Can you drive through there Thursday and do 10 minutes in front of the owner?
Right.
And then he'll decide whether or not he's going to book you. Like they don't have that.
They don't do that anymore.
Now it's like two giant comedy chains out there, the Improv and the Funny Bone. And while it's made the clubs nicer and bigger, breaking into that, a lot tougher because you go, well, I'd like to work for you in St. Louis or Wisconsin or wherever. Okay, well, you have to go to LA to let them know and let them see what you do, and then we'll talk about. Like, I don't know how they.
Yeah, they're more like how many followers do you have now?
Well, that's the thing.
They're like, how many followers do you have? What do you do? Do you have it's like I just feel
if I had to start that way, I don't think I would have made it.
I often think that a lot of the greats that we have to even right now, like,
wouldn't have made it.
Would they have?
I wouldn't have.
It would have been different.
No, it's too much work for me. I wouldn't have done.
I mean, it's a lot, man. It's like I feel like people used to build their audience on the road, and then they got introduced to TV.
Yeah, I remember.
And now TV, you have to have TV to get on the road.
Without question.
That's bananas.
Without question. And I remember, like, it was starting, I remember about 9 or 10 years in where it started with comics leaving, and I always thought those guys were ahead of the game, and I would always be like, God, why ain't I that motivated? Shit.
Like what?
Probably because I was drinking.
Yeah.
But
did
guys,
you drink it,
guys were leaving the email cards on the table,
right,
and building their list.
Yeah,
and I thought that's really good business. I'm not going to do it, but that's really good business.
Yeah.
Really smart. I thought that was smart. And then you've watched it evolve into social media.
Yeah, it turned into exactly like the email. When I remember that
the email list. Sign up for my email list.
Sign up for my email list. And then it became like, and then MySpace, and then someone like Dane Cook, who I had on. He came on too.
Right.
It's like something like MySpace came out, and then he saw that. It was like, oh, look how many people this is touching.
Right.
So I have direct access to the fans now. I mean, that's the only thing too, though. The good part about it is it's taking out the middleman. Like we can actually go, we're one away from all of our fans now.
Yeah, you're closer now to access to your fans than you've ever been before.
We've ever been in our life,
which is a good thing. I think that's for performers. I think that's a great thing.
But you're still in there. You're entrenched.
I'm so grateful for what happened to me, Erik. Where my passion lies now is, man, I want to start producing. I love television. So I'm going to do a new pilot with Chuck Lorre, and I don't mean to sound like a Hollywood asshole. I'm going to be doing a new pilot with Chuck, Erik. But he was
that name you dropped.
Yeah, you're right. You can pick that up for me. But he was kind enough to ask me to do another show with him, which I'm just blown away and honored by. And the man changed my life beyond. But what I did during Mike and Molly was, I sat, like Jimmy Burrows directed us for the first 2 years, who directed Cheers, Friends. I mean, he's the king. And I sat and I asked him questions every day when people were at lunch. And I've watched Chuck, and I've asked Chuck a lot of questions. So I looked at it like, the email thing that I missed, well, I got this one.
Yeah.
Because what I did was I figured...
Networking never has gone away. Well, that's always been a thing.
Just even education. I watched, these are two of the best men in television. So I thought, if I'm on this show, I'm not going to... I'm not going to just let this go away. There's an education to be had here, too. And so that's where I'm trying to get to next. Like, I sold a pilot with a friend of mine at CBS about 3 years ago. We didn't get the pilot. However, we now have, we just got a deal put in place with Lionsgate for a new show that I have. And we're going to take that out. And I think this one has a real good shot of getting on the air.
Ooh, there'll be a part for me.
Yes,
right?
there will be. Yes, there will.
No, dude, on there.
I'm telling you now, you have it on your podcast.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
I'm a fan. I
know you actually. You know what? You actually, Billy actually came to my show.
I did.
And comics just don't do that.
No. We don't.
And we understand too.
Yeah, we do.
We understand. When you said, I remember that you called me like, "Hey, can you give me 2 tickets?" And I was like, in my mind, I was like, "He's not gonna." This is for someone else.
One of the things that was fun about the old days that I don't see, that I wish was more around these days, is you kind of went and watched guys that were really good because it inspired you. And so I keep an eye out for comics that inspire me because I lose sight of the fact that I should be having fun up there. I lose sight of it.
You're working all the time.
I feel like it's work. And so when I watch a guy that makes me forget and I just get to enjoy his stand-up, to me, that's important. So I watch you. I come to see your shows. I'm a big fan of Bill Burr.
Yeah. Love Bill.
Tom Segura, I think, lately is just fantastic. I like Steve Byrne. I like Nick Griffin. So I try to watch guys that inspire me. Like when I did this tour called the Jameson Tour, the comedy tour for a whiskey company for about 4 years. And for the first year I got on that tour, I was completely burnt out. Like I was like, I can't say another funny thing. Like I was just so done with it.
Was it autopilot?
It was
when
just so
stage?
like
Yeah.
it was that kind of set you're having when you're doing your set, you're killing.
Yeah.
But in the back of your head, like you're going, I hate you. I hate this act. I hate talking.
Oh, man. You're outside of yourself.
How are you talking? Dude? You're going to say this again?
Yeah.
And then I worked with Danny Bevins and Nick Griffin and Steve Byrne, and I have to say those guys re-inspired me.
Oh, that's good.
To get hungry about it because it was fun to watch them every day.
Well, here's the thing that you haven't done in a while, and I'm going
Yes.
to tell you what you're missing in your
What
life.
am I missing?
Is you don't go to the clubs, man.
I don't, dude.
You don't go to the clubs
so
because
bad.
this thing that you're talking about is happening right now at the comedy store.
It's like a new boom in
yes,
comedy.
at the comedy store
and there's
right
a lot
now.
of cats down there. I love it. You down there, Ron White's down there, Joey Diaz is down there. I mean, there's all the gang's all here. But those are my guys. Those are the guys I
there's
love.
like a lot of new guys out there that you would really just sitting in the back of the room and watching.
But now here's the problem. Here's what went wrong. You get successful, you get a little soft.
Yeah.
At least I did, And the other part is, and this
You're not
is
soft. You're just comfortable.
I'm just old and tired.
Yeah, you don't want to drive over the hill and park, and you're like, how much time am I doing?
If my shoes,
you're bougie.
I am. If my shoes are off by 7 p.m.,
Is it?
No chance.
Street lights
There's
come
no
on.
chance I'm leaving the house.
Street lights are on, and you're like, okay, I can't. The street lights are on. Well, is there a 5 p.m. show?
It's really sad,
down
but really
the street?
true. Steve Burns always trying to get me to get out.
You gotta get
and
out
Alonzo
there.
Bolden's always like, come on, man, let's just go. I know you do. All the guys that care about me do.
Yeah, you got to get out there.
And I want to. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Eric, I want to.
Yeah.
Come 7, I ain't going there. But the other side of that is my son is 15, and he is the absolute most important thing in my life. And I'm become a family guy. I just want to be home, man. I want to see him at the table doing his homework.
I got you.
I want my wife to come tell me how she's disappointed in me.
Yeah, but
and then I want to just watch a little TV and do my crossword.
I know, but at 10,
I'm lame, brother. I like being lame.
Yeah, but you could get on this at 10:45 p.m.
I'm asleep.
You're too tired.
I'm asleep
I get
by
it.
the 10 o'clock show.
I get
it's
it.
terrible. It's terrible.
I get it.
But
You're
true.
just a grandpa now.
I am,
it feels
dude.
like
I'm the old dude.
But that feeling that you want is out there if you want to get it.
It is, but here's where I'm finding it in other places. Like I still love the hour of doing stand-up on stage.
Right.
I still love going to do that. There's nothing like it. And if you're blessed enough to be good at stand-up, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, it's such
I don't care what anybody says. There's nothing
experience.
like it. Yeah. But I think I've found this new excitement in trying to write and put projects together.
I like that.
And it's the same kind of passion I had to get to open mic night in the old days. So that's kind of where I'm trying to go. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's where I'm trying to go.
You know what? I know exactly how you feel, actually, because in my old younger days when I was coaching basketball, I remember when I was in high school, I played basketball, and I got a thrill. I got a rush.
Yeah. I got to be in there. I got to be in there.
I would grab the rebound, and my thing would be I would grab it and I would yell, every time I got a rebound to try to intimidate people around me, right? But I remember when I got into coaching, I had the same thrill. Like if I drew up a play for the kids and they ran it and scored, I would be on the sideline like, yeah! And I was like, oh, you can have that same... Yeah. So I know what you're talking about.
It's kind of transferred locations.
Yes.
But I still, that really excites me, trying to get a script and pitch it and get it sold. And then I eventually want to get those executive producer headphones. That's what I'm shooting for.
You talk about not doing anything. You're going to be the same. Then we're going to have another conversation, and you're going to be like, I miss being on the set and all that. Because you're just going to be like, all it's going to be is your name on the screen. Executive producer Billy Gardell.
That's it. That's like
and you're going to be at home. Wow, my grandkid is 15.
God willing. God willing. My whole goal in this is to do nothing. Yeah. Eventually to do nothing. That's my whole goal.
Isn't that from the first time we do an open mic? It's like
day one.
I want to do this so I don't ever have to do anything. Well, we're all looking for the last job we ever need.
Yeah.
And you got that one.
I did.
You got the last job you'll ever need.
I did.
Now, everything now is, these are all the things that you want.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So you've been married how long?
We're coming up on 18 years.
Wow.
18 years of marriage, and been together for almost 20. And got a 15-year-old, and I love it, man. I just love being home. I love being safe. I love being quiet.
And you must have found a good one that allowed, because you were a road dog.
Yeah, she's been tremendous, man. The first 8 years of our marriage was just so beautiful, and then I got out of hand for about 3 years with the drinking.
Oh wow!
But then I got sober. I've been sober for 11. So
congratulations!
Thank you, bro. We're in a really sweet spot. Oh, and I should give a shout out to Bert Kreischer too.
Bert,
because he was super fun to have on the Jameson Tour too.
He was. Oh god,
he's just
he must have been a nightmare.
He was
in a good way.
Not to me, because
I'm just saying in a good way, because he just is like.
No, you don't know what's going to happen.
You never. Yeah.
You don't know. In fact, his energy is so huge,
infectious,
and you can see why he's so successful now. But I didn't want to follow that because, again, I'm old. My ego's gone. So I was headlining that tour till he came on. I was like, Bert, I'm not. You do your thing, brother. Go do it. And then I would go in the back to watch because you just don't know what was going to happen. I loved it.
You know what? I feel like I'm already like that, and I'm not even big. Like, if I'm on a show with people, I'm going to be like, they're like, oh, well, who's going to go up first? I'll be like, I'll go up first. I don't care.
But see, that's a veteran thing. It's like, how much time do I have to do?
Bro. When do you want? You know what I asked? No. I asked this. When do you want the show to end?
Yeah, I'll stop mid joke.
Yeah, we got to get out of here. Man, I remember one time I was in Seattle coming up. I was always like this,
right.
And then you had to do the underground, and the guy John Fox would have you. You would do the underground, but then he would have you drive 100 miles to some shit location in Washington to do some bar. No. Okay, so I'm doing this bar show, and the comic that's with me, he's feeling himself.
He loves it.
He's feeling it. Now I asked
going
the
over
guy,
his notebook.
I asked the guy, the bar, I said, what time the show got to end?
Yeah.
He told me that, it's a hard out because we got this other thing. And I said, perfect.
No problem.
So the guy's...
Anybody want to do a guess set?
Dude, this comic is up there and he's killing. Billy, I'm in the back going like this.
Wrap it up.
Stretch it. No.
Oh, no, go longer so I can go later.
You're killing.
Yeah.
I was like, you're killing, I was like, oh my God, keep going,
Yeah.
So I ended up only doing 15 minutes.
Right.
So we're in the car, and he's like pumped up, and I'm counting the money.
You did good, bro.
But I'm counting the headliner money, and I'm like, you did great, man. That was
nice work, man. Nice work out
nice
there.
work. And I think that's the first time he noticed. He thought to himself, "Oh, I think I messed up.
Yeah,
I think I did more work than they deserved. I think I did more work."
You need that period of your life too.
Yeah.
But I'm with you these days. I'm like,
we gotta get out here by 10.
10:01. We're gone.
Yeah,
we're gone.
Yeah, you could be in mid So then my wife. Good night,
everybody.
Thanks for coming out.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm. So do you appreciate now because obviously the crowds have gotten bigger or the shows have gotten less. That's what it is. Before when you used to have to do 7 shows or Tuesday night to Sunday. Now you're just in the casinos and the big theaters and
but I'm starting to wane a little bit. It's funny because during Mike and Molly, about the 3rd year, it got really popular and nice size houses, 1,500 to 2,000. That's about where I peaked at. And then now I've been off the air for about 3 years. And so now the ticket sales weaning just a little bit.
Got you.
So now you either got to find something new to spike them back up, or you got to do the social media thing. And I'm doing some clubs as well, but I'll do whatever it takes. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, you still love doing stand-up.
I love doing the stand-up. I don't like being gone a lot. So to your other point, I love that I can fly out, do a gig, come back. And then I've done some corporate gigs, which I love.
Those are the best.
Just cake, man.
Like a tire company or something.
40 minutes.
Yeah, you find out who the president is, and you're like, there's Dick Johnson over there. What a day, that guy, huh, guys? And then people love when you roast the president of the company.
And if you do it right, you get 4 free tires on top of your paycheck.
Right, then you're out.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Yeah.
But let me ask you this though, man. What do you feel about the state of the sensitivity in for doing comedy? You've always been a sort of clean comic.
I'm kind of a middle of the road guy.
Yeah.
So I'm in that club. I mean, I may swear a little bit, but none of my material really comes from where you're going to get combative or.
Do you ever want to go in that direction, or do you?
When I was younger, I did, but I'm always a believer that you kind of write what's going on in your life. And that's the school I came from. And my life is about being married for a long time. My life is about being a father and not a hypocrite. So So I think we have to be careful with being too sensitive around humor, and then I think if you're a humorist, you have to have judgment, and I think that's where the balance is.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
There are some guys that can talk about politics and not make you want to run out of the room.
Or cringe.
Patton Oswalt's a genius.
Yeah.
That guy knows how to do that. I'm not smart enough to do that.
Right.
But I can tell you about being married for 17 years. So that's what I do. Do you know what I mean? So I think I've always looked at comedy a lot like music, especially like jazz. I mean, you just got to find what your sound is and play your sound. You know what I mean? And that's the deal.
Yeah, I think what you're saying too is like we just have to be more thoughtful. Like I don't think we have to like shy away from subjects, but we definitely need to be.
But you got to think about how you go into that subject.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, because especially with like the Me Too movement and all that, it's like we male comedy. It's sometimes we're so misogynistic or so it's like sexual.
There's a good re-education going on. And there's also
that's a great way to put it. Re-education,
and we need that. And we need to know where. And what frightens me is how far, as a society, we have forgotten how to be compassionate or kind, especially around race. Or the gay culture, or women. Mm-hmm. We got to grow up, man. I feel like we used to know a little better, and I feel like we're going the right direction. And I'm not so sure we are right now. I think it's gotten hateful and ugly out there. And I think any time that you can find a way to bring love, to bring compassion, I think you're doing a far more noble thing than you are driving your point home.
Well said, my friend.
I go to bed after that.
I know. I know. I feel like we just like. I feel like I need to drop this.
That's what it's about, though, man. That's what it's about.
No, I totally understand what you're saying, and I even to take it even further, I even feel like maybe that we haven't lost the education, but now when I look back and realize that we weren't educated, or maybe
Ignorance.
we didn't see what was going on, because when you see these lists of like people that have been like taken down by, you go, wow, were we complicit in this for so long? It's
I've always been on the outskirts, so I don't know as much as everybody else does, but it always would shock me when I would hear something and somebody go, oh, everybody knew that.
Right.
I didn't know that. And nobody's talking to me, man.
But, you're not on because you're not on Twitter. You're not like.
No, I'm always. I do that. I think I tweet every 6 days. I'm so bad at it. Let's switch gears. Like, so does your son help you with that? I was like, is he like, Dad, you should be tweeting, or like, how's that interaction? No, me and him, man. I don't talk too much show business with him, other than the fact he wants to get into acting. He loves the theater at school. What am I going to tell him? I know that'll never work out. Yeah, what am I going to say?
If it worked out for you.
So I said, look, man. Just here's this change I would make. You're at 40. I thought everything was done. I thought there's no chance of anything ever happening, and I had no backup plan. And when you're starting, you hear everybody go, "You can't have a backup plan, or you'll use it." Well, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
You need it. I would have cut my arm off to have a backup plan at that time in my life. So I said,
I feel like that right now.
So I said, go to school, get a degree. So even if you don't end up in front of the camera, and I'm not saying you won't, you'll have something. You could become a teacher, or maybe there's a lot of ways to skin a cat in show business. You could end up doing lighting or sound or set.
Or something might move you that you didn't even realize.
You don't even know. So be open to that. Go have that experience. And he's going to get to go to college, which I never did. So that'll be hopefully.
It's important. I can tell that it's important for you to go to college.
Yeah, it is.
And you know what? And it's not even for these reasons you're saying about having a backup plan.
No.
You want him to go to college because you didn't get to do that.
I didn't get that opportunity. And he's, I got to tell you, man, he's such a great kid. He's 15, and I'm more proud of him than anything I've done in my life.
Is he a big boy?
He's a little bulky, yeah, but I mean, that's genetics.
I was about to say.
So I told him, I said, well, look, I go, take care of your body now, because I didn't get that note, and you will eat yourself out of opportunity. Don't do that. So take care of yourself now, and he's getting it, and he's got a 3.6 grade average. He's no trouble.
Look and listen to Proud Papa.
Well, I am, though, man. But you got to remember, at 15, I'm already smoking weed and cigarettes and stealing beers.
This is a miracle that you...
Well, 100. Yeah, man. So the fact that he's getting this life, and I try to give him the questions that weren't answered for me, and I think it's working out pretty good that way.
Does he ever think about trying to be a stand-up at all? Is that
A little bit. I think it's more acting, but he likes being funny. He likes being funny. So and him and his buddies are always trying to do little videos and stuff like that.
Oh, that's great.
So who knows?
Did he ever ask you to be in a video?
I told him I would, but he don't. Really,
that's so. You know what's so
like, yeah.
Man, you know one time. One time I was with.
You're my dad. I'd rather have it that way.
One time I was with like Dana Carvey was there, and he had his kids. Mm-hmm. You know, his kids were there, and Dana Carvey, he's talking with us about something, and his kids were like, "Oh, Dad," you know, because he's being funny. And I turned to them, I was like, "Your father is a genius. You stop that," you know. But it's amazing that you're just Dad, right?
I think it's better that way. In fact, I told him when Mike and Molly hit, I said, because he said to me, we were driving home from school one day, and there was a big billboard of me and Melissa on Ventura Boulevard. He said, "Dad," he goes, "You're famous now, huh?" And I pulled the car up. I go, "Hold up." I said, "Here's the deal. I got a really good job that I worked very hard for. Now, that doesn't mean I deserve the job. There's a lot of guys in this town that are funnier than me, more handsome than me, quicker than me, and younger than me. I just happened to be in the right place. I didn't quit.
Right time.
I didn't quit, so there's some luck involved." I said, "But all it is a good job. That's what I do. Who I am is your father. Let's keep it right there and stay humble, be grateful for all the gifts we've been given." So, and he kind of took that to heart. He's been good that way.
That's great, man. I often say one of my sayings I've stolen in the past is like, people don't fail, they quit. You know, and it's just some people fail, but I'm just saying, for the most part, people just go, I can't do this anymore. They just decide to leave.
Me and Earthquake, you know Earthquake?
Oh yeah.
So we go way back, and
you got a lot of black friends.
I'm very cool. But Quake used to live across the street from me in these apartments, and our one rule was don't get the phone cut off. In the early days, like you can get the lights cut off, you can get the car taken away. Don't get that phone cut off, man. And we always looked at it like it's a casino. If you can just stay at the table, eventually
you're gonna get a winner.
Something's got to hit. Now, it might not be the thing you want, but something will hit. But you got to stay in the casino. You got to stay in the casino.
and here you are, like because you've been in the business now 30 years.
32.
32
Isn't
years.
That crazy, yeah.
That is crazy. Mm-hmm. You know, well, I hope that works out like that, where you become a producer and all this.
That's where I'd like to go. If it doesn't, it's okay too. You know what I mean? I'm just going to watch my son do what he does. That's it.
Do you have like one of those moments in your career where you were like, I can't, I don't want to do this anymore?
Oh yeah, like right before Mike and Molly, and I've said that a couple times on a couple. I've only done a couple podcasts, but on Mark Maron's, we went into this.
Oh, you do the big ones. I'm so glad you came on my little podcast.
Listen, no, I'm a fan, but Mark asked me, and I was honored that he asked me, because what that guy does to me is just other level.
Yeah,
and
he's going to be the godfather of podcasts.
He is, and he's a great interview, and I found myself being very comfortable, to be very honest with him. And I what happened was, towards the end of, like right before Mike and Molly, I was unemployable. Like I couldn't get booked to book an acting job. I don't know what had happened, but it was like 2 years of nothing. So I thought, that's over. On the road, it was that time where, you know, clubs were cutting money and it was hard to get a gig. I was lucky enough to still be on the Jameson Tour, but that was ending. And I had just had my son, and I thought, I can't. You can't rely on this. I can't leave these two out in the wind hoping I'm going to do something. So I have a buddy in Pittsburgh, Randy Bauman at WDVE, and that's the biggest radio station in Pittsburgh. They're classic rock. They're not hate-driven. I love them. It's like doing the Letterman show. He really runs a tight ship. And I call in there every Tuesday. I still do every Tuesday morning with him for an hour. I get up at 5. And
oh, wow.
Do my
Great
thing.
for you.
But I love it. I love calling home. And I said, look, man, I think I may need to come home. Can I get a job on the morning show? Because I figured then I could take care of my family, still have a creative outlet, make a few bucks. I'm in my hometown. And that would be awesome. He said, yeah, man. He goes, I can work that out for you. I said, all right, I'm going to stay for one more pilot season. And in that pilot season, in that 3 months, I got 6 auditions, which is nothing.
Yeah.
6 in 3 months is a long ride.
Yeah.
The last one was Mike and Molly.
Oh man,
It was a Hail Mary into the end zone, man. It really, really was.
You were freaking packing boxes.
Yeah,
you were like, I'm gonna go to this audition, but then we gotta, yeah.
And then when we found out we got picked up, I was working in. I was having one of those comic nights, man. I was working in a place in Milwaukee where they got a comedy club that's below a strip club.
I don't think that's there anymore.
Good. Anyway. No, but I was down there, and it's them clubs where them dudes are out of money. They run them downstairs for a comedy show. You can imagine how happy they are. So there's 12 of these dudes in a 300-seat room, and I'm up on stage just sweating and wondering what I have done with my life.
Yeah.
And I got off stage, and there was like 30 texts on my phone. I was like, oh, something happened. And it was everybody calling to tell me, hey, man, the show got picked up. We got 12 episodes. And I just could not. I was blown. Like, I couldn't believe that it happened there, which was great.
Oh, that's just one of those. That's one of those times you never forget.
Never.
And it's amazing how it's always around stand-up, though.
It's always, stand-up is who brought me to the dance. That's why I will never disrespect it. I root for the younger guys. I enjoy watching my peers to try to stay inspired. And I still like to listen to the old records, man. I love Pryor, Carlin, Newhart. I still like to go back. Early Rodney Dangerfield. Actually, Marin turned me on to this long-form Rodney Dangerfield that I'd never heard. I didn't know that guy ever did long-form. Because by the time he was famous, it was always one-liners.
Yeah.
He had this album where it's all long-form.
Really?
So I still enjoy going back to kind of listen to that stuff to kind of get that feeling of, I need to.
Yeah, because you're not going to the club, so you have to.
No. You're going to stay on me about that.
Yes. Yeah, you listen to the old Rodney Dangerfield, which is great. I'm not saying taking anything away from it.
No, I do.
But you occasionally,
but I listen to that more
can you come once a month and just come to the club and show your face?
I should, but I'm old and tired. But I should. You're right. You're calling me out. I'm owning it. You're right. I should.
Oh man, I remember I remember because when you were coming up, you were doing the Florida. So when I was coming up, I had to do like the triple runs in Montana.
And I did those.
You did the triple runs too?
I did some triple runs, sure.
Oh man.
And what was the other guy through the Midwest? The Lansing and the bowling alleys in Detroit.
I never because I
Yoder.
Yoder, yes, Yoder. He's still around.
And then there was
his kids running.
His kids running.
His kids are still around.
And I you know what's funny, man? I owed him $300 on a commission that I didn't pay for probably, I don't know, 15, 20 years.
Did you pay it yet?
I sent it. Yeah, I sent it, but I never heard back from him, so I don't.
You probably didn't even know.
I did apologize. I was like, I'm so sorry. This is late.
Yeah, one of my worst gigs ever was on a triple run.
There's a lot of comics that would say that. Yeah, well, when I was coming up too, before Hef took over the Comedy Zones and made it fun to work there again, there was a guy that ran it before that. Boy, he would just put you in these gigs that you were like, what have I done?
Well,
what have I done? So I did those.
What you didn't realize about those gigs were they weren't actually comedy clubs. It was just they had a
like
sign.
A nightclub.
It had a sign that said Comedy Zone.
A honky tonk, or a biker bar, or some. But you
didn't know at the time though. You thought you were going to a comedy club.
I'm on the show.
Yeah,
I wouldn't walk in here if I wasn't doing the show.
Right.
Yeah, but those gigs, it's a double-edged sword with those road gigs because you learn to toughen your metal so you're not afraid of any crowd, but at the same time your material starts, if you stay in that too long, your material starts to lean towards appeasing that kind of show, and that hurts you when you come out here because you have to be a little less road and a little different when you come out here.
I'm finding that like that difference between road and not road is that the line is blurring because
it is nowadays because we're in a different world of how you're seen, when you're seen, where you're seen, and how what areas you have to work to do that. It is evolving.
Yeah.
But I think back then, the road comics, we kind of had the same premises. We just did because that's where we were out living and doing.
Well, a lot of people are like, what do you do? Like a lot of people get married, but you put your own stank on things.
Yeah. Well, what I learned was
a lot of comics are married and they have kids and they talk about these things.
Well, I used to struggle with how am I going to find my original, unique, all that shit you go through. And about around year 12, I found my voice the 12th year, and I found it when I was watching late at night. There was this VH1, one of those behind the music things. Remember those?
Yeah.
Carlos Santana.
Right.
Is talking about there are only so many notes. Okay, everybody's got to play E, everybody's got to play G, everybody's got to play A.
It's only A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
How you tune the guitar is what makes you different. And he said, so I have to play E, but you can tell my E from Keith Richards' E. you can tell Keith Richards-y from Stevie Ray Vaughan-y. It's how you tune your guitar. We're all talking collectively about the same things, but how you approach it is what makes you original. And that kind of freed me up to kind of be the goofy guy I am.
Well, I know that now it's because everything's on the internet. It's so hard to like even feel original when like, you know, you can put a clip up and then all of a sudden like these trolls are like sending you like
a lot of hate, man.
Yeah,
so
they're
much
sending you
hate.
like this. You stole this from you know such and such that I've never met before. That lives in a place I've never seen. I don't know this person.
Yeah.
It's like
and they don't know that. They
can't even make the connection.
No,
it's
exactly.
like parallel thinking is something they don't even understand.
No, and like you said, as a comic, everybody's looking for the next thing. And so I try to just look, the comic's been talking about being married since in the 50s. You know what I mean? I just talk about my marriage. And so that's what makes it different.
Yeah.
I talk about my journey as a father. That's what makes it different.
I always say the comics.
I talk about me being literally illiterate when it comes to technology. Like I've just embraced that it's passed me by.
Yeah.
I've just embraced it.
Yeah, you're probably 5 years.
Gone.
It was like that.
When I have to get a new phone, the anxiety is I can't.
You have like a
melts me down.
You don't have a flip phone, do you?
I gave it up 2 years ago. I held on for a while.
This guy had a flip phone.
I held on.
2 years ago, he had a flip phone.
Maybe three.
We're on iPhone 10, and you had a flip phone 2 years ago.
No, I'm exaggerating. Probably 5 years ago.
5 years ago, but even still.
I think, but I had to. I'm not good at all that stuff. And you know, I've always been, even in school, and this is something I tried to teach my son, is you got to learn the stuff that makes you uncomfortable. And I always found, if I was interested in it, I could learn it. If I wasn't, I would just block it out of my head.
This is really
and I think that's dangerous. So I'm trying these days to be a little more open-minded and learn new things when it comes to technology. So
I was going to say,
I'm just not a big fan because every time I go on there, it's like I hate you. Okay, man. You know, I'm going back to my house.
You can't. You know, I'm sure you don't get a lot of hate tweets.
Not
stuff
me.
Like
I'm
that.
just talking about when you see people talking to each other.
Yes.
It starts with two nice sentences and then just descends into utter hate, and I don't. That baffles me, man. There's a lot of wasted time there.
I know
a lot of wasted time.
I just know that I know doing comedy for me, like in the last year, it was a difficult transition just because, like, you know, it's like you have half the people love Trump, half the people hate Trump, and then you have this, like, you're in the clubs and you're like, oh God, like one side's too angry, the other side's too sensitive.
Yeah. Well, see, my feelings on that personally are I'm not a fan of the guy. I would never vote for the guy. I would never support anything the guy says. But I also know that unless you have built your following with the same opinion, it's hard when you have a group of both sets of those people in the club because they don't go after you. They go after each other.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's a hard place to be.
It really is.
That's a hard place
you know
to
what?
be.
The funny thing is that's also the beauty of stand-up comedy is that you're in this crowd. Like I was in St. Louis, and it just was like I was just triggering like everybody. You know, you say
you got everybody.
Yeah, I got everybody, man. I was like, oh man, what happened here? You know, I wasn't even trashing the guy. I just was saying some funny joke.
Well,
and this lady, and he was like, fuck yeah, and she like stormed out. And
this guy has said more awful things than any president I think we've ever had, and yet you can't make fun of him in front of his supporters, which is
crazy.
Like comedians have been making fun of the president
since there was a
Abe
president.
Lincoln.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I don't know why he's hands off, especially with some of the things that comes out of his mouth. But I think that goes back to we have to really look at how we treat each other these days, man.
Yeah.
We have to really look at how we treat each other. There's a rush to be right in this country that's very dangerous.
And to be first.
Right at all costs.
There's a rush to be first to a topic and right about that topic.
Right at all costs.
Yeah. You know what I say? I always say that we're missing nuance.
We're just missing kindness.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
We're
What a beautiful man you are.
Try to be, man.
Yeah, I
Took a long way to go.
I get it. I mean, because I guess I'm still fighting the good fight. Because I'm out there. You've seen my act. You know, sometimes I'm talking about certain things,
but you don't offend to me in any way.
But the thing is like
in fact, you get away with a few things, and I'm like, wow, he got away with that. Wow, like I would never get away with that.
But that's all about just being thoughtful about it.
It's funny. It's craft.
I'm putting but
it's craft. There is a craft to that.
I agree.
Because if you can deliver that kind of truth, look, the truth without love is abuse. So if there's a little bit of sweetness, the medicine goes down. If you're just saying shit to say shit, you ain't gonna last that long.
Yeah, there are a lot of castor oil comics out there.
There you go.
You know, where
There
it's
you
just
go.
like, this is good for you. Take it. And
take
it's
it
just
easy.
bitter in your mouth.
Take it easy.
You know what I mean?
Make me laugh at some. Here's what I find, man. If you truly are trying to help somebody laugh at maybe something they're taking too serious, it's got to be really funny. It's got to be really funny, because that's the only way they're going to open up and go, oh, maybe. Oh, wait, maybe I did look at that wrong.
Yeah, I know, but it's so hard because like we live in this
It is.
society of 180 characters, and it's like we have to somehow get all of our opinions across in this short little space.
Or we don't.
Or we don't. I know, you're right, man. You're right. But
I don't know if I'm
we
right.
need more conversations like this.
I don't know if I'm right. I just know what brings me peace. And I have been given a gift of one, being sober, and given a gift of a beautiful family and success. So I try not to. I try to leave places better than I found them.
Oh, look at you.
That's my gig. I don't do it all the time, but I try.
Sometimes I want to burn the bitch down.
No, I do too. I just bite my tongue. You know. That's all.
you're.
That's all. Trying.
But by the way, speaking on that though, is like I guess there is a certain expectation that when you go to a place, they're thinking, "Oh, it's Mike."
Yeah, I had
It's,
to. Yeah,
you know.
So there is that. There's that. You know, they don't expect you to even swear. So I had to get by that a little bit. I have to let them know up ahead, like, hey guys.
You know, earmuffs.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna say some swear words, but you got to be okay with that. We're all adults here, you know what I mean. But I did have to acknowledge it for a long time because they're like, "Sweet Mike, why sweet Mike telling me to go fuck myself?"
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
So I had to do that.
Yeah. Oh man, that must have been something.
Well, it's again another challenge. So you know, and it was a healthy challenge, so I took to it pretty well. I thought.
Well, you're taking on challenges all the time now. I feel like fatherhood, being a great
those
husband,
I love.
being sober.
But again, it's
you're being a TV producer.
It's that thing, though. If you love it, it's not work. I tell my kid that all the time. If you love what you're doing, you never work a day in your life, man. I believe that to my God. The big one that I've been trying to do that's creeping up on me is health. I got type 2 diabetes now.
No.
Yeah, and you know, like every fat guy, not me. That ain't gonna happen to me.
No, oh God, I gotta get back in the gym.
That's
now.
it. And then it got me. So now I have to confront this one now. This is the biggest one. This is the one I've had problem with my whole life because I've been a big guy my whole life, and then I got fatter. And I have to look at that and own it so I can change it. So I'm not riding around in a Zappy hooked to a bag somewhere when I'm 60. I work too fucking hard
with no foot
to get here. Right. Just hold on, I'm coming.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy. So I'm trying to confront this one now because this is the one that
I know this.
It could take me out of all the other things I want to do if I don't pay attention to it.
I know this is a difficult journey, and I appreciate you talking about it. Weight is the hardest, and I feel like we're getting hoodwinked in society with this whole like body positivity.
No,
like,
I'm not. I'm with you.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
If you're a fat fuck, you got to own it. And put your shirt on at the beach. No one wants to see you and love you that way. I'm sorry. I know that hurts some sensitive ears. Oh, but it's if you can't look.
You got a one-piece body and a two-piece bikini.
If you can't look at it, you can't change it. And the truth to me with weight is, look, and I got some shit that fucks with my head because, like, I don't have the usual fat guy woes. I had a good career.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Got a pretty wife, got a healthy son, got a successful life. So I don't have the usual. In fact, that shit works against me because it's like you made it as a big motherfucker.
Well, but
you know what I mean.
But you know what that
so
is?
You
That's
have
because
to work
we're
that
having,
down.
Those are two different conversations.
They are,
though.
but they're dangerous.
You know,
to go. But
I made it. Why can't I still be fat?
I know, but
you can't run from it.
You could be president and not necessarily be a great person. That your success has nothing to do with like. You know, your
but
health
the justification,
or what's right.
that justification
that's
game,
what we do.
that's what I play.
But
So that's what I'm trying to work on.
It's just false confidence.
I'm
that
with
people
you,
have.
though. I don't believe in the you got to just love yourself. You got to look at yourself and go, I got to get this shit together. Because
that's not even loving yourself if you don't.
It's not. And that's the wiring. And getting type 2 diabetes has really opened my eyes to, holy shit, if I don't treat this will start eating at every organ. There's no fucking around with this. Now I'm not going to put myself in a pity party because that just leads to more medicating. Right. And I'm not going to say it's as bad as having cancer. It's not. It's something that can be managed. But this is my struggle. But
it's also self-inflicted.
Without question.
And that's the thing we need to work on.
That's the one. That's owning it. Exactly.
Look, there's two different conversations. Mm-hmm. There's a conversation about what you like is about being kind.
Yeah.
About being thoughtful. So there's a way you tell a fat person because what these people are confusing is like we're being mean to fat people, and we need to stop that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we need to tell fat people,
you can be
hey,
kind.
honestly, you need to get your fat ass in the gym and work on this.
Yeah, or say it like, I care about you and I want you to be here. Titus is great at that with me. Chris Titus always calls me and goes, dude, I just want you around. I just want you around.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's a caring friend. Now,
being caring.
Here's what I don't need is a skinny dude who's never had a weight problem telling me what I need to do to lose weight. Shut up, man. Unless you really want to put your demon on the table, please shut up.
Like
just let me go. I am aware of what I have to do.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm the Malcolm XX of this community. I'm out here.
That's a win. We're done. We're not doing anything better than that on this podcast. The Malcolm XX of this community. That's it. Cut. We're fucking done. That's a wrap. Holy shit, that's good. That's why I come watch you.
But that anyway,
fuck, that's funny.
But anyways, to wrap it up, I just want to say I wish you all the best.
Back at you. I'm a fan. I remain a fan.
And we both, and we both should actually stay on each other about. I started boxing recently,
good.
But I keep getting off of it because I got to travel and things happen.
Yeah.
But I got to get back on it. I got to stay healthy, be healthy. And we have to encourage people to do the same thing.
You do. It's no joke, and you got to. And the hard part to swallow, man, for me is because I grew up in Pittsburgh and then down white trash in Florida, and so hearing you got to love yourself enough to do this is a hard thing to process. But I'm getting there, man. Some other things have been knocked down, and if I could conquer them, there's no reason I can't get by this.
But we also have to understand what that really means. Yeah. Loving yourself is not being indulgent to yourself.
There you go.
It's about actually doing the hard things, to make the hard choices.
That's exactly right. And to know that when I eat broccoli, that's loving myself. Eating pizza ain't rewarding myself, even though I'm gonna get high eating the pizza. Like that gives me an endorphin pop. I love that shit. I love food, dude. It's terrible. Love it.
Me too.
So we just got we
moderation, bro. We're talking about moderation.
I heard about it. I've never had one of anything in my life. So here's the thing. We either have to love ourselves and get healthy, or we got to hope Dow Chemical can make broccolini taste like Captain Crunch.
Yeah. Why don't they just do that? I don't understand.
You got to be able to spray some shit on it. Just in a bottle.
I always say that, why can't things that be good for you taste good?
Yes.
Yes. That's some kind of cruel joke.
It is. It's God's sense of humor, in my opinion.
You know what I mean? Twinkies should be like, vitamin filled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why isn't that
a thing?
Hey, the Twinkie got a lot of energy.
Don't you want to be yelling at your kid? Did you have your Twinkies?
Oh my God! That's a fantasy.
That's a fantasy. No, it's like broccoli. But you know what? But actually, in older age, I find myself being a more of a food connoisseur now. I love a good piece of broccoli.
Yeah.
Like if I go to a steakhouse, that's why I go to steakhouses.
I'm still working on it.
You don't go to. You know what the problem is? You still got that white trash in you.
I do.
You need to go to Morton's and you need to go to good steakhouses, man.
Yes, you're right.
And you get the sides, and you'll be like, oh,
that stuff's
fucking
good.
around.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yes,
it's at home.
It's that home shit.
Fucked up.
Yeah, because you're not. What do we know?
Nothing.
I don't know how to do. My spice cabinet has two things in it: salt and pepper. Maybe Mrs. Dash.
Maybe some hot sauce.
There's hot sauce.
To me, hot sauce is good for the nasals.
But that's it. They got their stuff in there that. Anyways, dude, I really appreciate you coming on.
I love you, man. It's great talking with you.
And we're gonna go to dinner, and we're gonna make sure we're healthy.
If you don't blow me off again,
I had an emergency. This motherfucker.
Big shot.
Oh, man. But good luck with the TV show.
Back at you.
Good luck with the producing.
We'll see.
I hope that we get to work together.
We will.
You actually said it on the podcast.
I do.
So,
I want that to happen.
Yeah, I'm going to have to send this to Chuck Lorre and be like, what he said. Like, I'm going to come in and be like, is Chuck here? I have a video.
I hope to get to do something with you. I do.
Hopefully, we will get to work together.
Be great.
And I wish the best for your son. I hope that he gets his degree.
Get that college degree.
And it also goes into the entertainment business.
Yes.
Does
well.
And we want you to get healthy. I hope you fight this diabetes. You're going to work on that, and I'm going to work on my thing. And hey, this has been another great episode of Riffin with Griffin, inspiring the talented, 32 years in the business, the thoughtful, the caring, friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on, Mr. Billy Gardell.
Thanks, Erik.
And you guys tune in next week, and thank you for watching. I love all your comments. I love everything you're saying, and I'm going to continue to do this. I'm not going to quit. People don't fail. They quit. I'm going to stay in the podcast.
Stay in the casino, bro.
All right, goodbye. Thank you very much.